Hello everyone, my name is Sohail Yunus and today we're going to learn how to Dockerize your uh, .NET application by creating an image and running that image in a container, and later we will push that image into a Docker Hub and we will pull as well. So stay tuned and we will do all this together. So let's start. So the first thing I will create a .NET Web API project by using a .NET new command. So navigate back to my project folder, the command and .NET new Web API, and I will name the folder my Docker. Let's do my first Docker Web API, and we are only using HTTP in this session, so I will pass the no HTTPS flag into the .NET new command. For that, no HTTPS, hit enter, and that will create a .NET Web API project. So as you see, it's created successfully. Now I want to load this newly created project into the Visual Studio Code. For that, you have to type code, and the folder name is my first Docker Web API, and you have to pass dot and dash R flag into it, so it will reload that into the same window, and you can see it gets reloaded. And here's the controller, and if you double click on this folder in the controller, so you can see the controller name is weather forecast controller, and you see there is a pop-up appears on the top the bottom right corner, and is actually asking if I click yes, it will create a Visual Studio Code related file in the project, and if I click yes, you can see that this folder will appear. So no, while we have this project loaded into the Visual Studio Code, let's see if it's we can build this and run that successfully before we start doing Docker image. So for that, I will type .NET build command, and as we are in the same folder, so you don't have to type anything else, just .NET build, and it's supposed to build, and there's no error, so we are good. And then the next command, I'm just going to run this project and see that everything looks fine, and we the expected output is there. So for that, run, hit enter. So here you go, start listening on 5000 port. I will click on there, and the controller name was weather forecast, hit enter, and you can see that there's a JSON output coming from the API, which is good. So it seems like everything works the way it should. So I will stop the application, and now it's a time to Dockerize this .NET application. So to Dockerize this, we need a Docker file. So Docker file is a set of instruction. While you build image, Docker reads that file through and build the image for you. I will be using an extension called Docker, which helps creating the Docker file. So for extension, I will click on the extensions and type Docker in there. You can see it appears here. I will go ahead and install it, and as long as installed, you can see this icons get appear on the Visual Studio Code panel. I will go back to the Explorer folder, and here I will create a Docker file by going into the View command palette, and I will go ahead with this option, and it says .NET ASP .NET Core, yes, and it's for the Windows, yes. And for now we are just dealing with port 80, no HTTPS. So here I enter, and it's asking, do you want to include Docker compose file? No, for now. So you can see the Docker file get created for you, and at the same time the Docker ignore. Docker ignore is a file where you type all the files, folder, and objects which you don't want to copy in your final image, because at the end you want to see that image lean and not so much fluffy stuff which is not really gonna use. So you don't want that. So so you can see that it's by default get at bin, which you and the git folder, all these things are not required. And let's go and check Dockerfile. Dockerfile, you can see the instructions get created by that extension. But it's very important to understand what each statement is doing. And in the first statement, we are pulling an image from the Microsoft container registry that will help us later to build the final image. And after that, we are pulling one more Microsoft container registry image, which is SDK1, and SDK1 will be used to build and publish. And once you have that published ready in this folder, you can use the base image and copy from app.publish into your base image app folder. And in that way, you're not going to be using the image which is having SDK, and it would be lightweight as we are having Docker ignore file as well. So and this image, when you run that in a container, it will expose on port 80. So that's pretty much this Docker file is doing. So before we build an image, I will go ahead and type docker images command. It will list all the images. I have that on my machine, so there's no image for now. And there's another command if you want to see all your containers running on your machine, that is docker ps and pass a, which actually if you want to see all the container which are stopped or running both together, so you have to pass -a. So here in this currently I don't have any running or stopped containers, so there's nothing in there. So we'll clear this out and let's build image using this Docker file. So I will type docker build command. I will tag this with one of the rule I want to mention. Well, if you are want to push your image into your Docker Hub, so make sure you start with your account profile ID and then the repository name. So we will go back and do the same. So I will type my account name and account profile ID on Docker Hub /repository ID, and I will say my first Docker Web API, and I will give a version 1.0 for now. And while this Docker file is in the same folder, so I just have to put one dot in there and hit enter. And you see start building. It's right now it's downloading .NET ASP.NET image from Microsoft Container Registry. So this is gonna take some time to download, and now it's downloading the SDK image. So so image has been built. So if I run at this point docker images, so here you go, you can see that the docker image has been created with the tag 1.0 and 14 seconds ago, and these two images are belong from Microsoft Container Registry, which it get pulled based on the instructions we have that in Docker file. So if you want to run this image into the container, all you have to do is type docker run and which port you are, and you want to map your machine port to the image port. So remember that while we're running the writing the docker file, we expose that image on port 80. So I will map my local port with the container port 80, and you have to type the entire name of the image as well. So in this case, my first docker web API, and it was that 1.0. Let's see it again. So my first docker web API 1.0. So hit enter. So now it's listening, means no, if I go back and instead of 5000 I will do this, and you can see that is that right now the image is running in a container, and it's listening on port 8080. So we are good. So I will stop this container, and at this point if I go and run psa, so you can see this container is still running. In order to stop this, so I will get this container ID. I will type docker stop, and the container ID, it will stop the container, and but if you type docker ps/a, so you can see the status is exited. But if you want to remove all the stopped container and the active one, you can run the command docker container and run and hit enter. It will ask you, yes, I want to remove all of that, and docker ps/a. This point you don't have any container, but your images are still there. Yes. So before I delete any one of them, I will push this into the Docker Hub. For that, I will type docker push. First, make sure that you are logged in. So I will type docker login. So it's asking me for the username. I will type my username and the password. Here you go, I logged in successfully. So now I type docker push and the name of the image, which is SUNS, and my first docker web API, and tab was 1.0, and hit enter. So it's basically pushing right now into the Docker Hub. Currently I don't have any repository. So it seems like it's pushed successfully. There's no error or something. So I will go back in there in my profile, and you can see that this gets pushed. If you click on that, and I will if you wanna pull that later, you can use this command. So manage repository. So no, as we have already pushed this image into the Docker Hub. I want to delete that so I can pull it from Docker Hub and run that in a container again. So we can get the overview of Docker pool. So I will remove all the images I'm currently running. For that, I will type docker rmi and docker images. This will remove all the images I currently have on my machine. So now if I type docker images, I don't have anything. The next step, I will go back to the Docker Hub and go to my repository and copy this and get back to the terminal and paste it there, hit enter. So here you go. So right now it's getting pulled from Docker Hub. At the end, I'm gonna have one image on my machine. It's gonna take some time. Here you go. So now if I type docker images, you can see that now I will successfully pull that image from Docker Hub into my machine, and now I'm going to run this image again but on different port. So I will type docker run, and this time I'm running on port 81 and this, and I will be using this repository name and tag was 1.0, hit enter. So here you go, it's running now. So if I go back and here, instead of port 8080, I'm to port 8081, and you can see it's running on 8081. So we were able to push the image into Docker Hub and pull again also, and and run that on a different port as well. So so that's it for today. And if you like my video and you have any question, please feel free to comments into the video. And thank you so much for your time, and see you in my next video. Thank you.